ببكة مباركا.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to continue. I said in the intro video that I would tell you a little bit about myself and how I came to decide to retire here in Saudi Arabia, Mecca in particular. Okay, so my name is Ibrahim Richard Smith. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, USA, 1961. Okay, I graduated from Malcolm X Shabazz Malcolm X Shabazz High School, 1979. The Bulldogs, and went on to go to Rutgers University in Newark on a I had a lot of financial aid back then. Alhamdulillah, it was a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whoever was the president at that time, I don't remember who that was, but you could go to school. They had a lot of grants and things like that. I don't know what the situation is now. But anyhow, got a chance to go to Rutgers. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree, majored in Afro-American Studies. I was in a master's program. Anyhow, left the university. Didn't want to continue. I had an opportunity to go to Columbia University. Anyhow, that's another story. Anyhow, took a job, social worker, Elizabeth, New Jersey, with DIFUS, doing child abuse investigations. Didn't work out. Wasn't really the best thing for me. So I started substitute teaching back in Newark. And while I was substitute teaching a special education class, in a special education class, the what do you call her? The supervisor from the Board of Ed, Special Education Department. She was on a visit to our school, which was Weequahic High School at that time. And she liked my relationship with the students when she came in. They were working, and she was like, wow, how'd you get them to work? She don't know I had to tell a lot of jokes, threaten the kids sometimes. No, we had a good relationship. The whole thing was, I made a deal. I do a little stand up, they do a little work. So it was between, I'm glad she didn't come in when I was doing the stand up. That probably wouldn't have turned out too well for me. But anyhow, she came in, alhamdulillah, during the time when, it was on my side, meaning it was in my favor, meaning that they were doing some work. So she offered me a position. She said, why don't you come down and interview, and you'll go back to the university and just do some education courses. I had already taken some education courses, but not specifically for that specialization. Different areas have different specializations, the specialized courses, specialized classes. So of course, special ed, special needs, you have their own, courses and concentration. So anyhow, I went back, did that. So I was teaching in the mornings, going to school in the afternoon, and alhamdulillah, I finally finished, got my tenure. The only main issue for me was the Juma, making Juma. It was really hard. Because, the khutbahs sometimes, they start at 1 and then they're going on until maybe 1:45, 2 o'clock in some cases. And of course, you only get, you're a school teacher, as you school teachers out there know, a teaching hour, classroom hours, 45 minutes, and you got to be back. I think it's 40 or 45 minutes. You got to be back in your class. So I was getting back late because, the masjid was downtown. Anyhow, that's how it was at that time. And so that was really stressing me out. And then also there was a lot of talk around that time during the 90s, the early 90s, late 80s, about hijra, leaving the land of the non-Muslims and going to the land of the Muslims, Muslim majority countries. And of course, the main prize, everybody wants to be in Saudi Arabia. You know, if you get a chance, who wouldn't want to come to the land of the Haramain, the land where Islam, the birth of Islam, and where the Prophet Sallam and the Sahaba established by Allah Ta'ala's grace and mercy this excellent religion, mashallah, barakallah. So anyhow, I got an opportunity to come. Took paternity leave for a year. I came over working at Monorat School, and I'm not gonna say if I was paid or not. Maybe the IRS come after me at this time. Anyhow, I've always declared, by the way, guys. That's another thing I forgot to tell you about. Always declare. Some people, when they leave the United States, I'm just going to throw this out, just kind of look a little on the side here. When they leave the United States, they forget that you still have to file your taxes. Even if you don't pay taxes, you still got to file. So you don't want to give Uncle Sam away against you. You don't want to do that. Plus, it's the law. You just, try to do everything by the law, man, as much as you can. So I've always filed. You know what I mean? So, you just make sure you file your taxes, man. Just, even if you don't pay, you're making foreign earned income. If you work, you're making foreign earned income, you got to declare. So I've always done that. Anyhow, stay for a year. It was a challenge. Some of the challenges that you face, moving to a new country, especially the language. You got the language issues, cultural issues, maybe food issues, housing issues, weather. The first thing that hit me when I came here was the weather. Anyhow, let me just get back to what happened. So a friend was his wife was working here at a girls' school, because what happens is here in Saudi, let me make this a little bit better. Here in Saudi, the schools are separated. You have boys' schools and you have girls' schools. So you had Monorat English School for boys, and there was Monorat English School for girls. And you had the primary section, middle section, and the high school section. So, and their idea was to put native English speakers in the primary to train the children's language skills. Going up, they can hear, what English sounds like from a native speaker. And of course, I had to put a hold on my Jersey accent, you know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of cool that out. But anyhow, so they brought me over. So anyhow, they were recruiting. I called the school. I still remember that, man. It was amazing. It seemed like I was calling Mars. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, brother. It just sounded like it was from another planet. So anyhow, I called and got the secretary, and he said, "Look, the doctor, the mudir, the director of the school, he's coming to the States and he's going to do some interviews out of New York." I really don't like to go to New York so much, but anyhow, no problem. I ain't hating on the city. I used to love to go to the city all the time. It's just that I don't like to drive to the city, and then the train was a little bit nutty. But anyhow, he came. I went to New York, met him at the Marriott. I gave him my papers, credentials, blah, blah, blah. He said, "Okay, cool. Come. I want you to come, and I want you to teach the primary." I said, "Whoa, primary? What grade?" He's like, "Grade 2." I was like, "Wow." Because, when I was doing my teacher training, you got to go around. You remember you going around to the different schools. So they said, "Okay, well, take a look at primary, take a look at a middle school, take a look at a high school." And really, my hat off to the primary grade teachers. That's challenging, man. That's challenging. They're constantly working and changing the boards, and the display and all of that stuff, and patience. Got to do a lot of patience. And because remember, I worked in special ed, but it was a high school, and they have different, of course, different classifications of special education. Not everybody is, not all of the kids are the same. So you get some kids who are maybe socially maladjusted. These classifications they have. But basically, you can talk to them. You can talk to them, reason. Okay, look, man, put the gun back. Put the gun away. That's a true story, by the way. Uh, One guy had a gun, and just had to tell him to put it back in the bag. Don't shoot. I told him, shoot the kid outside. You got to make a couple of jokes, keep it light. And anyhow, that was just teaching in I'm not saying all of Newark is like that, but that was Central High, do or die, home of the Blue Devils. That's just how it was. That was it, man. But of course, being a Muslim, you get a lot of respect. Alhamdulillah, that's how it was. I'm sure it's still like that, I guess. But anyhow, went to New York, met the doc, hired me, talked to the family, made istikhara, boom. Our daughter at that time, little Ruqayya, she was 8 months old, a bundle of joy, so much energy, mashallah, barakallah. So she came over, 8 months. We came over. The first thing that hit me was the heat. Boom. Couldn't believe it. Wow. Felt like I had stepped into an oven. I was pleasantly surprised about how things were here, because we did New York, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, at what they call it, the Bride Sea or something like that. Bride of the Red Sea, that's the nickname for Jeddah. Came in, greeted us at the airport. It's fantastic. He had the sign and took us to the hotel. It was a beautiful hotel. I was like, wow, what happened to the tents and all of this stuff? Where are the camels? People tell you crazy things, man. So, but also do research. That's what I'm trying to say. Do your research. Some of the errors that I'm not going to say other people made, but me, you have to do your research. And, do you even need to come? Do you need to make hijrah, first of all? Because that was being pushed very heavily at that time. And, but that's really not, there are other opinions on that. It depends on your situation. So once again, I'm not talib ilm, I'm not a sheikh. Talk to your, people of knowledge where you are about your situation. And also when you leave, be careful about how you leave. Because the thing is, if you're going to work for a local international company, you will not be contributing to your Social Security, and that will affect you going forward. Now, fast forward, now I want to collect. I'm trying to get out of the game. 64 years old. How much do you have in the kitty? Some people don't have anything. We're not gonna have something. $10, $25, depending on how much you've contributed. That's why I'm saying it is possible to do maybe $1,200, $1,500 US dollars. Sure, it's possible. There are a number of countries, but I'm talking specifically about people who want to settle in Mecca. Medina is a whole nother situation. I never lived in Medina. So visited, of course, but living most of my time, I just lived in Jeddah for since '93, and like I said, I just decided to retire here in Mecca as of June 1st. So anyhow, what happened? So I stayed. The first year was challenging. Alhamdulillah, I got a chance to do Hajj, Umrah, and of course, I know Hajj is very expensive now. So that's the other thing. If you, how does it work? If you live here, can you do Hajj? It's possible. It's possible. Things are possible. This is a mamlaka. First of all, everything is under Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's amr, his decree, his control. So the first thing we do is we always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his help. We ask Allah sincerely for his help. And now it's winter time. This is called the winter season. So Fajr is coming in later. So people can get up. Now you can get up for the tahajjud, 3 rak'ah, just do your 2 or 4 and close it out with witr and make dua sincerely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask him for guidance and direction. Okay, we're coming up on 15 minutes here. So anyhow, school wanted me to stay. My students were fantastic. No guns, no knives in the class. They really wanted to learn. They had a lot of energy. They were little kids, we were little, second grade. And I'm still in touch with them. Now they're adults, and we have a WhatsApp group, one of them formed. And some of them now are engineers, doctors, like their parents. Because what happens is the international schools, that's the other thing. If you want to come here with your kids, they have international schools. Okay, you can do homeschooling, international schools, Quran, up to you. It's a lot of options, a lot of things you can do. Okay. Beautiful. They have a Mahad al-Ilmi in the Haram. Man, I was very impressed with that. I went down there some months ago, looking at all of those kids down there, and ladies too, sisters. I saw sisters down there. So they have a place for ladies, for the girls. And of course, you have Qura University for the guys and for the girls. So anyhow, so we did the first year, went back, and when I got back to Newark, to the school, I decided, because what happened was the school, they weren't happy that I left. I mean, I don't blame them. I was working hard, doing some good work there. Alhamdulillah. You're doing the awards banquet, energetic. Anyhow, that's on the principal. He can decide, hey, man, go to another school. Cool. So I said, maybe this is a sign for me to just go back. At least, see, the whole thing was my intention for leaving it was about the deen. It was about the worship, the prayer. I can pray 5 times a day. You could pray 5 times a day. It's a part of the culture. It's a part of what they do. The law, but the people pray. And the Jummah is off. So you have off on Jummah. We didn't work on Jummah. You have off. Like even now, Jummah is, the schools are closed, of course, Jummah. And so anyhow, I worked here. I came here. Then I decided to come back. I came back, and then I stayed at Monterat for another 12 or 13 years. And then I decided that I really wanted to work with older Saudi students. So I got a chance to work at Civil Aviation, the Saudi Academy of Civil Aviation, under GACA. So when you go to the airport, you see the sign says GACA, the General Authority of Civil Aviation. That is equivalent to our FAA in the United States, the regulatory body for civil aviation, for the aviation industry. Not the airline, the regulatory body, like the FAA. So it's a difference between the FAA and American Airlines, for example. So American Airlines is just a company, and then you have the government regulatory body that regulates the airline industry. So I worked there, and I worked at the academy. Fantastic job, great people. And that was my first time now working directly with Saudi people. Fantastic, great. Really, I'm not kidding you. The why do I say that? The khidmah, the manners, in the morning, you gotta have the tea, man. You gotta do the tea. It's nice folks, man. Really nice, and I learned a lot. That was a job where I really learned a lot, and we did so much. I worked in the English language department because I went back and got my CELTA. I went to the UK and do that. I went to London and did that in the UK. That was fantastic. It was the most difficult course I ever took. It was a concentrated course. So much packed into that one course. The Oxford Academy in London. No time for play there, man. You just humping it. So alhamdulillah, I got through and came back. But anyhow, I was still already working for for civil aviation, and we got a chance to establish Saudi Arabia's test, the Saudi Aviation English Language Proficiency Test. I was a part of that first group that formed that. There was an oral proficiency test that pilots and air traffic controllers have to take in order to work in Saudi. And we were a part of a team to do that. So we had to get certified, of course, out of Melbourne, Australia, sent a trainer in, and trained us up, got certified to do that aviation English testing. So we were doing pilot testing, aviate for the pilots and the air traffic controllers, in oral language proficiency. So we did that. We did examine and we rated, and then we also did training. So the Prince Sultan Aviation Academy trained those guys up. Anyhow, fantastic job. Saudiization happened, meaning the Saudis now are very educated in a lot of different sectors. So they had a plan, send their people out to the different countries, get them educated, come back, and employ them up, get them employed. That's reasonable. Any thinking country that really cares about their folks, you do something like that. That's what you do. So anyhow, I left and I went in. So I went from the private sector, working for the international school, to the government sector, and then I got a job. One of my buddies, one of the brothers, told me about the Navy was hiring. The Navy, not the Navy. Air Defense Forces Institute needed American teachers to do work in the English department. So alhamdulillah, one of the brothers told me about that. I got a chance to get in. Now, this is how it works. Once again, so my first two jobs, local, nothing in the kitty for Social Security. Some companies, now, then I'm going to work for, that was a subcontractor. That's the thing you got to be careful too. Sometimes you have an American company that have a subcontractor, right? So the mother company may be American. Maybe they have a deal with the subcontractor, and you're not, the subcontractor could be a local contractor. You're not contributing anything to your Social Security. So you get me? Making good money, but unless you're taking that money and investing it, nothing in your Social Security. Got to be careful about that. It's another thing. Got to be careful. So a lot of things I slept on, and it's not the responsibility of the people of knowledge to tell you all of that. Hey man, look, when you make the hijrah, make sure you do. Nope. You got to look into that yourself. You got to do that yourself, man. And also the student telling you got to leave, look into that too. Check that out. Maybe there's another view on that. Check it out. So maybe check out your situation. Anyhow, did that. I worked there. I came in at the end of that contract, and a new company came in, because that's what you can lose your job like that here too. So if a new company comes in, they can either retain the old staff or they can let them go. It's up to the company, right? Anyhow, I wound up going to another military branch of the military here, which is the Royal Saudi Naval Forces, RSNF, in Jeddah. Once again in Jeddah, and that is the Navy. So I left Air Defense and I went over to the Navy. Had a great time. Fantastic. Had a great time, man. Did a lot of good work there. Worked there teaching in the English department for 8 years, and I just decided it was time to get out. I did an extra year. Now, once I left that company, now check this out. When I went to the Navy working for an American company, okay, now sometimes you can work at the same place, but for two different American companies. So because they do bidding, they'll bid on the contracts, two American companies, whatever, British companies. So anyhow, the first company, American company I was working for, sometimes the companies give you an option. You can take all of your salary locally and some of it stateside, or you can take all of it stateside. Now, of course, the more you take stateside, the more you contribute to your Social Security. The more you take locally, the more you get in your end of service benefit, because they give you an end of service benefit, a gratuity at the end of your contract. Okay, so that's another thing you got to consider. What else? So anyhow, that company left, another company came in. Now some companies have to provide you with housing. They have to provide you with air ticket. Now, single contract, family contract, all of this stuff you got to consider. Do you have family? Now, some companies are only looking for singles. They're trying to save money, make more profit. Companies are in business to make profit, to make money. Nothing wrong with that. So it's up to you. Here's the contract. This is what we're offering. You like it, you agree, sign on the dotted line. If not, keep it moving. You know what I mean? So anyhow, I decided that it's time, and now what I wanted to do was, okay, then it was like, okay, where do you go? Okay, now, do you go back home? Do you not on this kind of, you know what I mean? So now you look in the kitty, you see very little. You say, well, can I go back home on that amount? And plus, what is back home now? You have to look at what's back home. Probably a lot of your friends are gone, they're dead now. But, I'm from a family of 4, 2 sisters deceased. Alhamdulillah, younger brother, Ali, mashallah, I love you, man. He is Muslim, alhamdulillah. He came here one time, I invited him here. Fantastic. When you come here for the first time and you go to that place behind me that you see on the screen behind me, the Kaaba. Wow. I don't know what to say about that one, man. I have no words for it. My 4 kids back in the States, Ruqayya, Rahman, Rahim, Ziyad, love you guys, all bilingual, good guys, doing their thing. That's the other thing too. How long can your kids be here? Anyhow, that's a whole nother topic. So hopefully maybe in the live Q&A we can discuss stuff like that, talk about it. So anyhow, that's pretty much it. So I decided that the best place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened my heart, and I decided the best place to try and close it out. Only Allah knows. That's the part from the ilm al-ghaib, where we're going to die. So, but we can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make a request, a sincere request, and asking Allah ta'ala to let us die here. So many stories. One of the brothers, his wife had, she was at stage 4 cancer, and her only desire was to die here in Mecca and have her janazah at the haram. Thousands of people praying on her, and Allah granted her that dua. He made it happen for her. So her husband, mashallah, barakallah, may Allah ta'ala reward and bless the brother, man. He's here now. Hopefully we'll get a chance to interview Sheikh Asim, mashallah, currently back in the States on a little short visit, but he'll be coming back, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, soon. And I have a chance to interview him, and he can tell you how, his experiences, since what made him decide to stay here and how he's doing it. But now his wife, so he's buried here in Mecca, had the janazah. And the other thing about being here is because this is the hub. Everybody comes through. Muslim, you're going to come through to do your, if you have time and the desire and the willingness to come through and do your umrah, at least get an umrah in, you know what I mean? Now, in the way that they've done the umrah, the way that they've organized the haram, right? Currently, the haram is, of course, all constantly working to improve it. Every time I go there's something new that they've put together. And now, of course, it's doing a little maintenance ahead of Ramadan. Ramadan is right around the corner. We're in the 7th month. So now we have the 8th, Remember, we're in the 8th day of the 7th month. And then we have the 8th month coming up, bi'idhnillah Sha'ban, and then Ramadan, bi'idhnillah. Allah Ta'ala allow us to experience another Ramadan, inshallah. Um, so that's it, So in Mecca is just a fantastic place. I wanted to show you some neighborhoods, like I said before. Maybe go over, show you where Sheikh Sudais, his area is. Awali, beautiful area. I'm in Rusaifa, right down the street from the train. And if you look out my window here, you can actually see the top of the, let me just see if I can just show you that. You can actually see the top. See, you can actually see the top. I don't know if you can see that. You can actually see the top of the clock tower. Let me just see if I can. Yeah. You can actually see. I was trying to turn that around. You can actually see the top of the clock tower, and then you have the mountain range. See the mountain range there. Very quiet, mashallah. And a lot of the buildings here have small masjids attached to them. So under the building, you see that small masjid. They don't have Juma at these masjids, just for salah. And a lot of villas here, mashallah. Nice, very, very nice, very nice. And the train station is right there, and that's the haram. So the thing about the clock tower, it serves as a landmark. You can just see. So let me just see. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Mashallah, barakallah. Just look at that. Look at that. There's no place like this on the earth. There's no place. I'm talking about for worship or not for worship. This masjid is a masterpiece. I'm talking about architecturally. If you just want to look at it from an architectural standpoint, never seen anything like this in my life. And they keep it so well maintained, cleaned. It's around the clock cleaning. And inshallah, I'll give you a chance. Give you a chance to see where the cleaners, where their offices, where they hang out at. That's on the other side of the city. And that's it. And also about the haram, people don't know the haram has hospitals inside, or stations. On each floor, there's a medical station in case you get sick, and of course, there's an emergency hospital. Ejyad Emergency Hospital that they take folks to. One brother came many years ago, and when the bird flu was out, and he got very, very sick, and he had to transport him from the local hospital to, because what happens is if you get sick, then they take you to one of the bigger hospitals, Mustashfa Noor, and he stayed there for a month. Didn't have to pay anything. Nope, didn't have to pay. Alhamdulillah. All right, so anyhow, I'm gonna close it up and close it out, and that's about it for this particular segment. And inshallah. So the next one, so this is the second one I'm doing. So the first one was just telling you about the channel. I'd like to do the videos, and then this one is just about this one is just about a little bit about me, how I came to be here, and what made me decide to stay. So anyhow, you being here, you can act as like an ambassador. Your family, friends come. The brothers from Baltimore were here. Just met some nice students from young brothers from Canada and the States, and down in the Hilton, down by the Haram. Came for Umrah, quick Umrah, went back. The museums that are here. So anyhow, show you Mount Hira. Few things. And how to just be here, man. And it's your retirement, it's your life, how you organize it. In the morning after Fajr, I like to go for a walk sometimes. There's a park down here. And I hope to bring the exercises the physical exercises that I learned from working with a group, exercising with a group in Jeddah here. Very fantastic. Deep breathing, a lot of stretching, cardio stuff. What else? A lot of things here, man. A lot of things here. Beautiful. And then you just jump on the train. Say like you want to just go up to Jeddah. Also Taif up the mountain. So the weather is very beautiful now in Taif, and they have the rose season. That's where they make the warda, the oud warda, that's very expensive perfume that they do, and they just collect the red roses, and they and they extract they do some process, and they make the oil from it. Okay, anyhow, I'm gonna close this out now. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh yeah, also subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that. Subscribe to the channel. Tell me what you want. Any content that you're interested in, please let me know. And that's it. Subscribe. I'm gonna try and put everything up. I'm new at this, but any suggestions you have, appreciate it. Barakallah feek. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.